Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. After a couple of sort of significant videos where I've shown off some one-of-ones of Hall of Famers, and of course a project that I was at for over a decade in my buyback Franken set, which I recently completed for the first time ever, I want to kind of get back to basics today and go over just some new pickups, some mail that's come in, including gifts from family and friends, and some wonderful cards that I've picked up as well that I want to show off here on the channel so I can get them filed away here in my home office slash hobby room. And we're going to start with the team set that you see in the background here. So my aunt and my cousin, who used to live up here in New England, they moved down to Florida a few years ago now, and they come up every fall, once a year, to visit with us. Love seeing them. And every year, my cousin Rick, who I referred to as Uncle Rick growing up, because he's a little bit older than I am, but he brings me the St. Lucie Mets team set that he gets at the stadium. So this team plays not far from their residence down there. And so Rick and other relatives are able to take in some live minor league baseball every summer. And for the past 2 or 3 years running now, maybe longer, he brings me a St. Lucie Mets team set, which is so awesome that he picks up at the stadium. And I'm going to leave this one sealed for today, just because my other ones are still sealed and I kind of want them all to match. But at some rainy day in the future, maybe I'll open all those up here on the channel, kind of sort through them, see who's included. But more than anything, it's always great to see you, Rick, and Ann as well. It's a great opportunity to catch up whenever you guys are up here. And I really appreciate you thinking of me with those cards. And then next, I'm going to go to a friend of mine in the community who many of you know, Hugo, over at Signs of the Pastime. Great channel that I cannot recommend enough here on YouTube. If you're, for some reason, not subscribed to Hugo, I'll leave a link below. Just absolutely fantastic content, so well thought out, incredible editing. All the things that I do poorly here on YouTube, Hugo does masterfully. And he sent me a care package weeks ago now, and I'm very behind in getting to this, and I want to get it on the channel now because, first of all, I owe it to Hugo to say thank you for these amazing cards. And secondly, I've had some other care packages start to come in now that are kind of lining up behind this. So Hugo sent a great note. Shane, here are just a couple of cards I thought you might enjoy having as part of your ever-growing Negro Leagues collection. Blame It on the Shane has been a blast, and I appreciate all you do, brother. Hugo. So Hugo has a Blame It on the Shane binder for his buybacks because he is one of the collectors here on YouTube who has come to appreciate the buyback card much like I do. And in fact, the first 2 cards in his care package here are of the buyback variety. So I've got this great 1973 Topps Lenny Randle, or at least most of a Lenny Randle card, although this one is so badly miscut that you can see a portion of an Oakland A's first baseman above him. So this is a home run for me because I love buybacks and I love miscuts, and it's very rare to find the combination of the two on a single card. Look at those palm trees. Very fitting transition here from my cousin's gift. And of course, Hugo is located down in Florida as well, so it made sense to lump these all together. So I love that Lenny Randle. And after the video, we'll see if this one makes the Franken set in slot 378. And then another buyback that I knew was coming and will absolutely have a place in my binders is this beauty here. The 1990 Topps Dennis Oil Can Boyd Rediscover Topps buyback from 2017. I haven't shown this yet on the channel, but Hugo and I talk regularly, so he's aware of this. But in addition to the buyback Franken set that I showed off in a recent video, I am also crazily working on an attempt to complete the 1990 Topps set all in buyback format. And I don't think it's actually possible, or I doubt whether it's possible to complete it, but I'm trudging along nonetheless. And Hugo recently picked this up in a lot, checked my spreadsheet that I had sent him and found that I needed this card. So this one has escaped me for almost 10 years now, and Hugo has now provided it. It will go right into my 1990 Topps buyback binder in slot 544 at the conclusion of this video. And I know, like, to some of you, you may not understand, this is not like a significant card in like a monetary sense, but seeking these out and going like years between finding these that I don't have or that I need for my set, when I get one of these, it is like the most rewarding hobby feeling. And Hugo, you absolutely made my day locating and then being generous enough as a fellow Red Sox fan, especially to send me that Oil Can Boyd. It's just incredibly touching, and you know it will be given a good home. And at some point in the future, I will show off that 1990 Topps buyback binder here on the channel. It is well underway. I think I've definitely got over 700 of the 792 cards in that binder in buyback format. So maybe someday I'll get there. But in the meantime, it's just been fun kind of enjoying the pursuit. And then there were two other cards Hugo sent that are really the stars of the show, I guess. And he'll do better justice to these players than I will. And I'll try to leave a link below to his video if I think of it on this first subject. But check this out. This is Mamie Johnson for the Indianapolis Clowns. Now, for those who are unaware, she was one of, I think, 3 female ball players to have played in the Negro Leagues. She was an incredibly talented pitcher, and her nickname was Peanut. And you can see in her autograph here, she actually signed this, Mamie Peanut Johnson. This is an on-card auto, which of course Hugo specializes in. And as I mentioned, he has covered her in at least one video, maybe more, and will do a better job kind of summarizing her career and her amazing accomplishments than I could. But this will be a star of the show in my budding Negro League Z folio that I'm assembling. I do have quite a few autographs in that binder, and I did not have Mamie Johnson represented. She pitched, as you can see here, for the Clowns for a few seasons. This was, I think, in the mid-50s as the Negro Leagues was sort of winding down or coming apart in light of the integration of baseball. But just a fantastic figure. She was like 5'3", under 100 pounds soaking wet. And she struck out, big name players in the Negro League. So just a really awesome story. And I'm truthfully honored to have this autograph in my collection, Hugo. Thank you so much for that. In fact, we're going to put Mamie up in the background here. And then Hugo sent another Negro Leagues autograph here, also on card, to accompany that, as if the Mamie Johnson wasn't enough, which I assure you it was more than enough. He also included this front row Ray Dandridge. Beautiful on-card auto there. Ray, a very talented third baseman in the Negro Leagues, did not get a chance to play in Major League Baseball. He was just deemed too old by the time integration finally took place, which sadly was the fate of many Negro League stars. So we'll never know how he would have matched up against MLB's all-time greats. But what's not questionable is that he was one of the most talented players in the Negro Leagues, manning the hot corner, hitting for high average every year. And eventually, much later in his life, I think in the late 80s, he was elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. So both of these on-card autos are just so touching, so fitting. Honored to have them both in my collection. They are two subjects who I did not have represented at all, and they're going to really strengthen that binder, which I have been working at in the background here and hope to show off this coming winter here on the channel. And in fact, while we're at it, let's transition into some pickups. I have 2 other cards that are destined for that same binder. First and foremost, I found this 1961 Walt Bond buyback, which is also a miscut, like the Lenny Randle that we saw. You can see on the left border there a little bit of a card that was adjacent to this one on the sheet. But Walt was a bridge player who began his career with Negro League franchises before moving over to Major League Baseball. And this will go into a buyback section of bridge players that I have going in that binder. Kind of a tragic story in the end for Walt, but love having this card. I have a small handful of his buybacks now, but didn't have this one yet. And picked that one up, I believe, on ComC of all places. And then to go with it, this was an eBay pickup that I got recently. Bill Bruton on the 1959 Topps release. And this is a 2008 Topps Heritage box topper buyback. And this is going to look beautiful, again, in that same section of the binder, featuring buybacks of bridge players between the Negro Leagues and the Major Leagues. And look at that $1 million smile on Bill here as well. This was like a $6 card shipped, and like everything else I've shown in today's video, absolutely made my day. Just showing that you don't need to spend a lot of money to really enjoy this hobby. Next, I'm going to transition to 2 modern cards that are throwbacks to greats of yesteryear, but on modern designs. The first one I briefly showed with my buddy Brent Richards on our most recent ball card banter, but it's my latest Stadium Club rainbow foil board of Reggie Jackson. Check this out. This is from the 2024 Stadium Club release. Really interesting shot here of Reggie warming up on the sidelines before the game. Shot that you don't see all that often, or at least I don't, on Reggie Jackson cards. These are glorious. I've talked about them many times. always numbered to 25, going back over 10 years now in the Stadium Club release. And this here is copy 3 of 25. And of course, Reggie has been on my mind recently with the amazing game that Shohei Ohtani had to close out the NLDS this year. Really made me think back to Reggie's 3 home run game in the late 70s, and thought this was a fitting card. And I wanted to show it off here on my own channel before filing it away. So great Reggie there. And then the other kind of modern shine featuring great from the past. This is a Panini Prism Gold to 10. I've really been drawn to these in recent years. I talked a lot about in my most recent video with my Josh Gibson Prism Gold Vinyl 1 of 1, how I enjoy the players from baseball's past and the dead ball era, especially when it comes to these new Prism releases. I love that the gold is numbered to 10 instead of 50, so it's even more limited. And I recently picked up from the 2024 edition, the Ty Cobb. So how cool is that? Look at the etching in that jersey as I move this card in the light. Just incredible effort from Panini. I wish Topps did etching like this. I know I'm not alone, but these look fantastic. And the lack of logos, as I've said many times, really doesn't bother me for players from this era. This is just a fantastic modern Ty Cobb card, numbered, as I said, to 10. And this is actually the, I guess, the Omega copy 10 of 10, but just a beautiful card of one of the all-time greats of the game. And I love that I can kind of put this side by side with my Josh Gibson 1 of 1 that I showed off in my last video. 2 players who played many, many decades ago, but look great on that Panini Prism release. And then we've got just a couple more things here. I've got 4 autographs that I picked up from ComC towards my 1990 Topps autograph project. So the way I've been doing this, I've been hunting down the 90 Topps cards in the Archive Signature Series release in recent years. And I have 4 more to add here that were located on ComC and also arrived in my latest ComC shipment. So this one I showed off again with my buddy Brent on our latest ball card banter, but this is Ken Griffey Sr. here. These are all on-card autos. They're all serial numbered and stamped, but originally they were just plain old 1990 Topps cards. So happy to have Griffey Sr. covered in this project. And then the 3 that I haven't shown yet, a couple of these are just commons, but I got Charlie Hayes with a great autograph there. Interesting fielding shot. I love the colored borders. They really work well. Even though they're kind of jarring on a lot of these cards, they are perfect for 1990, if you ask me. And I just have so much nostalgia and so many memories wrapped up in this baseball release that tracking these autos down is a ton of fun for me. And then I've got this one here, the 3rd of 4, Jesse Orosco. Found this, popped up dirt cheap, snatched it up. You know, any auto that I don't have from this release from 1990 is attractive to me at the right price. And Jesse certainly was the right price. I'll have to do a final tally in a video at some point. I know I've mentioned it before, but I am up well over 50 of these now as far as 1990 Topps goes. So Jesse Orosco there. And then the last one is a 1 of 1. Now I know this is, you know, manufactured scarcity. I totally get it, but I dig these cards, and to get a 1 of 1 from 1990 is really special to me. Got the Rafael Palmeiro, the disgraced Rafi Palmeiro. Obviously was a huge name back in the day, had a very successful career, but it was later kind of tainted by his testimony in front of Congress and his abuse of performance-enhancing drugs. But love this card nonetheless, just because it transports me right back to the summer of 1990. And as I mentioned, this one is actually a stamped 1 of 1 in the upper left. So I have a handful of these now from 1990 that are actually 1 of 1s. So that's really cool. And then we're going to just briefly do a small batch of hockey cards to close out the video. A couple of these came in the most recent ComC pickup as well, so I wanted to get them a little bit of time here on the channel. And these are from the Pro Set buyback release that was done in 2020. So Pro Set Hockey existed for only 3 years as a company, 1990 through 1992, before they eventually kind of went bankrupt and were out of the game. It was the height of the quote-unquote junk wax era, so they're not looked on very fondly by many collectors. But for me, I was a kid collector at this time. I was rabid about hockey cards. I was playing youth hockey, and these cards and these sets were how I was learning about the game, its players, and its history. And so I have a lot of nostalgia, just like I do for 1990 Topps Baseball, for the 3 Pro Set hockey releases. And as I mentioned, in 2020, 5 or 6 years ago now, Leaf, which now owns the rights to the Pro Set brand, they did a buyback promotion in a set called Pro Set Memories, where they issued buyback cards of those original 3 Pro Set hockey releases. Every player was included, and they were really scarce. So the regular gold buyback is numbered to 5, and then there's a red 1 of 1. So I got 2 new gold 5s in my latest ComC shipment. Got Ray Ferraro, former Hartford Whaler, and affectionately known as Chicken Parm. Great hockey nickname, but this is from his time with the New York Islanders after he was done with the Whalers. And you can see here the buyback stamp. So the regular Pro Set card would not have had this stamp, but this has the Leaf Pro Set Memories buyback, and in this case, copy 4 of 5. This was dirt cheap, like $2. But I've mentioned that I've been selling a lot of my Upper Deck hockey buybacks to a private buyer offline this year to kind of raise some funds. And so I've transitioned as I've moved those out of my collection and have really amped up my search for and my acquisition of these Pro Set buybacks. So to go with Ray, also from the 1991 release, which was the middle of 3 releases for Pro Set, I got the Brendan Shanahan, who also briefly played for the Whalers and is a Hall of Famer as well. And in this case, got copy 2 of 5. And then I want to close it out with a real stunner. So my favorite of the Pro Set releases is the first year, 1990. They just had beautiful team color matching borders, great photographs, excellent write-ups on the back. I really, really dig these cards. And I've had this one for a while now, and I've shown it on the channel before. Gordie Howe, arguably the greatest player of all time, who did finish his career with my hometown Hartford Whalers. So to get the buyback of the Gordie Howe Whalers card, numbered to 5, is really special. This is one of my favorite hockey buybacks that I've ever owned. I've had this in the collection for a couple of years now, maybe longer. But recently on eBay, the red 1 of 1, the only other buyback that goes with this one, surfaced at open auction, 99 cents. I knew I had to make a play at this thing. Figured I would have a lot of competition, did not assume I would win it, just because Howe is a GOAT and is widely collected, has a ton of fans out there, even though he's no longer alive, even played many decades ago. There are plenty of people who think he's right there with Wayne Gretzky for the greatest of all time. But as you might guess, I was able to actually win the 1 of 1. And apologies for the glare, but I just want you to see the stamp here. So there's the red 1 of 1 stamp. So I have the gold numbered to 5. It's actually copy 1 of 5. And now the only other buyback that exists of this card, the 1 of 1. And as a Hartford Whalers fan and someone who is really into, as I said, these Pro Set releases 35 years ago now, these cards, like they just warm my heart. I will never part with either of these. These are going to be in the collection for as long as I'm in the hobby. And there's just a lot of great memories and nostalgia wrapped up in this pair of Gordie Howe cards. So that's going to be a wrap. I can't believe I've gone almost 20 minutes, but as you can see, I had plenty of mail backed up to get through. I've gotten some other great gifts in here from Hobby Pals that I'll be showing in future episodes. Have some more great cards streaming in as well. So I'll be back with some more content soon. But until then, I hope everybody out there is enjoying the hobby. Take care.